क्योंकि आज वोटिंग है दिल्ली के अंदर और बच्चे क्लास नहीं ले पाए ऑफलाइन, तो उनके पर्पज़ से मैंने रिकॉर्ड मतलब लाइव आपको रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा हूँ। आप इसको बाद में जाके यूट्यूब चैनल के माध्यम से आप इसको नोट डाउन कर सकते हो, प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हो उसकी। ये जो कंटेंट मैं यहाँ पे आपको अभी डिक्टेट करूँगा, ये कंटेंट मैंने पार्लियामेंट की जो स्पीचेज होती है वहाँ से मैंने तैयार किया है। ये लेटेस्ट कंटेंट है, ये आपको किसी मैगजीन वगैरह में नहीं मिलेगा। आपको 3P के अंदर ही जो मैगजीन्स है जो अनसीन कंटेंट के नाम से है उसके अंदर आपको मिलेगा। मैं आपको इसका नंबर भी शेयर कर दूंगा, और जो ग्रुप में ऑलरेडी इन्वॉल्व है उनके पास में इसका PDF ऑलरेडी होगा। अगर नहीं है तो आप मेरे से बोल सकते हो, तो आपको ग्रुप में PDF मिल जाएगा। तो जैसे ही मैं आपको स्टार्ट करूंगा, अगर आपके पास कॉपी पेन है तो आप ले लीजिए। मैं विद इन 5 सेकेंड इसको स्टार्ट करने वाला हूँ, आप थोड़ा सा इस पर ध्यान देंगे। रेडी, स्टार्ट इट। It gives me confidence that this new building of yours housing stalwarts of the chamber will chart new highlights in the days to come. I hope that this building will become the new hub for accelerating business development and economic growth under the aegis of the Bharat Chamber of Commerce. I wish you Godspeed and all success in your endeavors. Jai Hind. It is a privilege for me to be present amidst the galaxy of legal minds of the country and to receive the first copy of the book titled Statement of Indian Law, Supreme Court through its Constitution Bench decisions since 1950. At the outset, let me congratulate the author of this volume, Sri Govind Goyal, for his meticulous collection and in-depth analysis of all the Constitution Bench judgments of the Supreme Court. Sri Goyal has, to his credit, over 3 decades of rich experience in practicing law at the Supreme Court and High Courts. He has been involved in many landmark cases. His abiding and focused interest in constitutional, administrative, and civil laws makes him truly competent in authorizing a book of such volume and intensity. I applaud the author's immense industry and insight in rationalizing the Constitution Bench decisions ratio decidendi in an objective and compact manner. Ladies and gentlemen, in 1950, we the people of India gave to ourselves a sovereign democratic republic to secure all its citizens justice, liberty, and equality. We undertook to promote among all citizens fraternity, the dignity of the individual, and the unity and integrity of the nation. These ideals became the guiding light to a modern India state. The preamble, the fundamental rights, the fundamental duties, and the directive principles of a state policy contain the ingredients of good governance. The spacious provisions of our Constitution have allowed our democratic polity to address the evolving needs of a growing nation. The founding fathers of the Constitution laid out an exhaustive mechanism for governance with specific provisions to deal with future variations. These necessities were envisaged to be resolved constitutionally by the Supreme Court. This has been enabled through the exercise of advisory jurisdiction to be involved by the highest functionary of the Republic. The instrumentality for lightening up the constitutional path by the rendering of opinion by the apex court is the Constitution Bench. That is a bench comprising at least 5 judges Likewise, any ambiguity about the interpretation of the Constitution involving a substantial question of law is resolved by a bench of at least 5 Supreme Court judges. Indeed, judiciary is the final interpreter of the Constitution and laws. Over the years, the Constitution bench has interpreted the Constitution to counter numerous sensitive and complex constitutional situations. Its adjudications have infused life into the words of the Constitution, making it a vibrant document. It has provided guidance on constitutional norms and virtues which are essential for governance. It has also provided occasions to exercise constituent powers by virtue of the fact that the law, as declared by the Supreme Court, is binding on all courts and tribunals within the territory of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, Constitution bench decisions have also prescribed constitutionally permissible boundaries for each organ of the state. They have at times invalidated the exercise of the power and authority that violates constitutional provisions, including the basic structure of the Constitution. The uniqueness of a Constitution is that while the words can be amended, the constitutional silence are indisputable. It is the solemn responsibility of the Constitution bench to decrypt and amplify these silences. Constitutional bench decisions have exhibited a reasonable degree of durability and have left indelibly footprints on the sands of time. Of the 2,296 decisions of the Constitution bench, only about 1% have been overruled, which is considerably less than the number of constitutional amendments. Yet, there may be a possibility and more so desirability of revisiting the correctness or relevance of a decision as per the contemporary needs of society. Unlike the Supreme Court of the United States, where judges are appointed for a life term by the political executive, keeping in view ideological preferences, judges of the Indian Supreme Court are appointed through a non-political process uninfluenced by such considerations. As a result, the law that has emerged, having been interpreted by the Constitution bench of Indian Supreme Court, navigates through diverse social, economic, political, cultural, historical, and ethical moves. This has made the Constitution of India a living, organic document keeping pace with the changing times. Ladies and gentlemen, constitutionalism is the primary edifice on which the Indian democracy stands. It is the Constitution that is supreme rather than the three pillars of democracy: Parliament, Executive, and Judiciary that the Constitution provides. No individual or organ of our democracy is higher than the law. Each organ of the state must operate within its own sphere and must not appropriate what has been assigned to others. The exercise of authority by the legislature and executive is subject to judicial review However, in the exercise of authority by the judiciary, the only check possible is judiciary's self-imposed discipline and self-restraint. ये 850 वर्ड थे, ये आपको लगभग 9 मिनट में बोली गई है, तो ये स्पीड अप्रोक्सीमेटली 90 के आसपास रखनी है आपको। 90 के आसपास की स्पीड है एक्चुअली इसकी। अगर आप इन वर्डों में फेमिलियर हो तो आप इसको नोट डाउन कर पाए होंगे इस स्पीड पे। उन्होंने एवरेज ये जो कंटेंट आपको बोला गया है ये 80 की स्पीड पे अनसीन कंटेंट के हिसाब से है। सी ग्रेड में इस लेवल का कंटेंट काफ़ी रेयरली देखने को मिलता है। डी ग्रेड में आप इस तरह का कंटेंट अनसीन में देख सकते हो, जैसे कि 2016-17 के एग्जाम में हुआ था, आपको प्रेसिडेंट की जो स्पीचेज है वहाँ से कंटेंट बोला गया था। तो डी ग्रेड को लेकर आप एक अपर लेवल के कंटेंट को हमेशा तैयार करना चाहिए। मैं नेक्स्ट डिक्टेशंस आपको एक कम स्पीड पे और लो कंटेंट के साथ, जिसकी टफ वर्ड जिसमें जो है थोड़े कम आएंगे, उसके साथ आपको